Public Library Advisory Board to order at 5:34 today. Thanks everybody for joining us. We received the minutes by email today. Did everyone have a chance to look over the minutes? Great. Any revisions, suggestions? Okay, then can someone maybe put forward a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you. Celia, can we take your thumbs up as a second? Yes, great. Okay, so the motion passes and the minutes are approved as they stand. Looks like we might have a pretty quick meeting tonight because we do not have any citizen comments this evening, so we can jump ahead to item number 4 on the agenda, which is the board member appointment for the July 6th commissioners meeting.
Yes, Ms. Shannon, as you know, we have one vacancy, and so on the first week of July, we're going to have traditionally the commissioners address election of board members in June, but for whatever reason, it's going to go into July. We have submitted for an agenda item. We have, I believe, 12 or 13 applicants to fill in the vacancy left by Ms. Lehman, and the person who is approved by the commission will fill up the rest of the time of Ms. Lehman, which is the rest of the year, and they're back in January. We'll go back for board members. So I'm just going to update that we have the item on the agenda already was, I believe, 12 or 13, unless I'm correct, mistaken, Maribel, 12 or 13 applicants. I may be wrong on the amount of applicants, but there's a high amount. So hopefully the commissioners can approve. That way we have 7 board members up to the end of the year.
Excellent. Thanks so much for that update. And it looks like Maribel's indicating 10 applicants so far. So that's fantastic. Great. So any questions on that, guys, before we move forward to the library report? No. Okay, I'll turn it over.
Hello, I don't know if you guys can hear me. My name is Josie Balboa, and I'll be doing the utilization report for today. The library right now is currently undergoing the early voting that's happening at the main branch, so we should be finishing off that later on this week. Library visits are continuing to increase. We're seeing everybody coming in now. And then, of course, with summer around the corner, we've started our activities, which Kayla will discuss later on in the board meeting. We also have some new staff members that have started to join us, and I believe we have 2 of them here tonight. If you guys can introduce yourselves. John Lázaro. Lázaro, are you there?
I'm here, sorry. My name is John. Hello. I'm one of the new makerspace advisors here at the public library. Our purpose is to bring community and all these cool events to the library as well. And if they can build it, they can dream it. Or they can dream it, they can build it here.
There you go. And then we also have Lázaro.
Yep, I'm the other makerspace advisor. I'll also be assisting with helping makerspace come and make it an accessible area for everybody to be able to use different types of tools and machines to build what they want.
So and we're all super excited about them joining us.
And then also they will be making a presentation for the board at one makerspace. What's the end result? What you expect from a makerspace program? And so they'll be making a presentation in next month's meeting. And no pressure, John and Lázaro, but.
Yeah, and that's the end of my report.
Okay, so this is moving along quickly. We're already ahead to number 6. an update on our summer reading program. Getting started today.
Hey everybody, this is Kayla Trevino. I'm one of the librarians here who's kind of taking the lead on the summer reading program along with Chase and a few others. So like we went over the summer reading program at the last board meeting as well, but just real quick, it started today. Today was our kickoff party at both the Southmost and the main branch. Summer reading will continue until July 30th, which is when we will have our virtual awards ceremony. So today, we actually had a total of 241 registrations. So that's really awesome for the first day. Maine had 179 and Southmost had 62 registrations. We are splitting them up into 4 different age groups. So it's the first age group is 0 to 6, and we had 74 registrations. The 7 to 12 age group had 70. 13 to 17, which is our young adults, had 18, and then our adults 18 plus had 79 registrations, which is really awesome. So we're super excited. Registration is not over. It will continue until July 6th. So patrons can register in person or over the phone. They just need to stop by the library to pick up their information packets and their goodie bags that we have set up. So today we gave out a lot of goodies. We gave out like prizes and toys and books. Everyone got a book who registered. And we actually are starting right away with our events. We have a few events starting this week. We have our outdoor story time. We have a Mario Kart tournament and our BPL after hours on Friday. Our activity calendar, this is the June one, and then Maribel was also showed the July one. These calendars are available online, and patrons don't need to be registered to attend an event. So they don't have to like register for summer reading in order to come to one of these events. They only need to register if they want to participate in the reading logs and being able to win a prize at the end during the virtual awards ceremony. I'm also happy to say that we've had a lot of businesses agree to sponsor us. So we've been getting coupons, we've been getting freebies. I know Komori gave us gift cards, Target gave us gift cards, H-E-B, Walmart, Cane's, Nothing But Cake. So we have a lot of sponsors this year. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're just going to be giving out as much as we can to our community. So that's it on summer reading. Does anyone have any questions about anything specific? No? Okay, awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Kayla. It sounds like we're off to a strong start. That's excellent to hear. Okay, so if there aren't any questions or comments about the summer reading program, we can move ahead to an update on the grant application.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. This is Brenda Trevino. Just wanted to give you an update on our Texas Reads grant application. And that was an application that was worked on by Chase and our grants department that included handing out books out to our community, as well as having an author webinar. And so that one, we were actually notified this week that we have been recommended. We are actually ranked number 9 out of the libraries that applied. And now the next step is that we're going to wait on the Texas State Library and Archives Commission to go ahead and review those recommendations on August 6th and either adopt what was recommended by the review board or go ahead and amend. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brenda. That's great news. I'm glad that that we're already listed among the top 10, so that's fantastic. You guys, you probably see my lights going in and out. ERCOT may have some rolling blackouts, so just forewarning, I may disappear at any moment. And I apologize in advance if that happens. All right. So we can jump ahead then to the task force work progress check-in. I can't believe it's already time for this.
Hello, everyone. This is Leo Rodriguez, librarian here at Southmost Branch. So I am happy to report that the task force, it's been active for about 2 months now, coming up on 3 months very soon. So this is their point where they're going to kind of check in and let you know what they've been working on. So if you guys have any questions, it will be the perfect time to pose them to the task force members. And I believe right now we have Ms. Veronica, Ms. Peña and Miss Lilia present to report on their work progress today.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Mrs. Benyar, Lilia, did you want to start off by kind of summarizing some of the ideas that we had? Leo, or Mr. Rodriguez, sorry, do you have the slides that we sent in?
Yes, they're right here.
Thank you. Mrs. Benyar, Lilia, did you want to?
Veronica, go ahead and start and we'll just add.
Okay, so with the task force, we've met a few times and we've identified a lot of programs that we thought might be good to suggest. So we did research based on what other libraries have done around the state of Texas. We also took inspiration from El Paso because they are also a major border city. So these are a few of the ideas that we came up with as a group. So the first library card was something that we saw online where when a child signs up for their first library card, they get a little celebration for them. So they can get like a welcoming packet. You make a big deal out of it. Maybe they take a picture, maybe you have a little photo booth, but the point is to generate excitement around them having their first library card so that they're excited and they want to come back in again, check out more books. Mrs. Burlett suggested the seed library, which goes hand in hand with the storybook trail. So the storybook trail is, Mrs. Benya, can you elaborate on that one? Because I know what it is, but I think that you can explain it better than I can.
I can, I'd like to take the last three. I don't want to speak on all of them. So go ahead, Veronica. I'll jump in if I have to.
Okay, so Mrs. Burlett suggested the storybook trail might be a good addition in the southmost area because there is a trail in the southwest area by the library. So essentially it would be along the trail you have different markers, kind of like a children's story. And so it could be a way to incorporate being healthy, getting outside with the library and having those stops along the storybook trail. Um, and then Heraldo suggested the fine arts enhancement. So doing more projects having to do with fine arts, maybe having events, things like beginner guitar lessons, beginner piano lessons. I know the logistics of that would be a little complicated, but we thought we'd include that anyway. The very first idea, the volunteer hub, was kind of what we came up with at the very end. So we thought about all these ideas that we were suggesting, and all these ideas seemed like good things to suggest, but we wanted to leave something that would be able to be used past the end of the task force once the task force concludes, and that was the volunteer hub. So our idea was on the Brownsville Public Library website, you have kind of a volunteer hub where people from the community can suggest ideas. So for example, I could suggest the idea of having the first library card or a seed library, and then you can ask members of the community to volunteer and take on that project. So for example, if I was a troop mom and I had a Boy Scout troop or Girl Scout troop, that I was leading, I might go to the volunteer hub and see which ideas or projects us as a troop can take on. And I could submit, and submit our name and say, I lead troop 618, whatever it is, and we'd like to take on this project. And then somebody at the library who's in charge of not these projects, but managing the portal and seeing that every project is actually doable logistically, could say, this is a great project for you to do. We're going to go ahead and approve this. And that troop would be responsible for finding sponsors within the community and actually doing the project. So it takes the stress away from the library of having to actually do the project and puts it on the community for them to get involved, suggest events, and then find the funding themselves, because I know there's a lot of people in the community that want to help. They just don't know how they can get more involved.
I'd like to add, Veronica, committee, I want you to know that there's a lot of retirees, educators, that we would love to go twice a week, maybe 3 times a week. We could come up with activities under your direction, under your approval, and we can enhance these programs. There are a lot of retirees that would love to come in, whether they're educators or not, want to contribute and give back to the community. There's a lot of educators that work out in the southmost area that would love to come back and give something back. I'd like to also say that the fine arts enhancements, there's a lot of theater art, storytelling, music, guitar, singing. It's so, the students are so talented that we wanted to focus on that and make sure that students knew that literacy also meant expressing yourself. If I may, Veronica, the coding workshops, we were thinking, you know, BISD has computers and they have them, I guess that they sell them after so many years, they have an auction. And then perhaps there's programs that would like to see students using them. They could give to the Southmost Library. The biggest thing right now for students is coding. And I saw that there were rooms available in the Southmost area that we could utilize those rooms, one room in particular, put some computers there and get some of the teachers or some of the retirees to come back and show kids more of the coding and using the computers. Kids are attracted to that, and that'll get them in through the door. We know that our libraries are doing a tremendous job. I cannot thank the two libraries for doing everything that they can to get students and adults to the library, because we were raised knowing, my generation was, we knew that the library was very significant and it had things that we could not afford to have in our own homes. So knowing that you are very hardworking, you know, there's a lot of people that know how to market. We're thinking that if we wanted more people to come to the Southmost area to use the library, we could have flyers. We could go to the church, you know, Christ the King. At the end, the father, the priest will ask, you know, are there any announcements? We could announce these activities, like your summer project is out of this world. We could have it, you know, in a bulletin. We could have them post it as people are leaving out of the church. So there's a lot of us that would like to help you market the library and use it so that you can service more of the students especially in the Southmost area. We talked about software. You know, this has been a very trying year for students. They had to do virtual, and we said, you know, if we do coding, or if we do if we ask them to do lessons in computers with your approval, then parents will come, because parents know firsthand this year they had to learn what to do with a computer to get their child involved with the computers. Also, we were looking at software. You know, the schools use software to enhance lessons or knowledge. And so if we had a reading program at the libraries, then perhaps these students that are having difficulty in reading could come to your computers, work on that software, and it's self-paced. That would be something the student works on his own, but it would be a service for all these kids that need help in math or in reading. There's an investment on the software. I don't know if you already have it, if you don't have it, but we need to keep up with the times, and the students do need that, and they don't always get to use it in the school because, you know, of limited usage. Their grade level may only use it one time a week or every other week. And then also, we wanted to reach out to the universities and to the high school, maybe Porter High School. And we were specific with the Southmost area that there's AP classes and SAT classes, and there's also dual classes being offered at the school district or at the college. To ask some of the professors, sometimes they're looking for places to teach a class because there's room in the Southmost area. Maybe we could use a room, and that professor or that teacher could bring their students. Why? Because it opens a door to the community. It has community engagement. It partners with the higher level as well. Veronica and everyone that's on our committee knows very well that are we talking about elementary, middle school, or high school? This would be something that we could do at the secondary level, that we would ask a teacher, maybe from TSC or maybe from UTRGV, that they hold their sessions or classes in the library. To me, that is a seed that these students will continue to come back. Even the high school teacher, they have Saturday classes. I'm sure they want to be at the high school, but they can also have it at the library because they have all these resources. So we're percolating all these ideas. I don't want to go into detail, but we want to make sure that we are, one, having partnerships, two, that we are serving the needs of the community, that we have adult community services as well as children, and adult could be young adults. That we outsource, one of the members said something about SpaceX and maybe garden projects, whatever it takes to get them there, and your volunteers, and maybe we're reaching too high and it's too lofty, but I know as a matter of fact that the people that retired with me would be the first ones to enlist. So we want to outsource the storybook trail, the community garden, the seed library. All of these activities are things that we feel will enhance, will raise the standard. And may I add that you're already doing a fantastic job. It was really hard for us to say, how can we take it to the next level? So that's what I have. Veronica, anyone else want to jump in? Vero, you have anything else?
No, I just wanted to elaborate on your idea, or you mentioned outsourcing most of these projects, and that was the main focus of our last meeting, is tapping into the potential of the community, getting community funding, community sponsorship, so that it eases the burden off of the library and their resources.
And Leo, you've been fantastic. Thank you for all your support. And the committee is absolutely wonderful. I'm so honored to be working with them. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Peña. Thank you, Veronica, and thank you, Lilia, and all the rest of the task force members for planning for this. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate, and I like each and every one of these. Like, for example, the software in the computers. We recently installed new computers at the Southmost Library, also in the main branch. So we have new computers, and in the past we've had classroom adult continuing education. I don't remember the somebody from BISD. We had sessions here as far as the storybook trail. We already started
Oh,
that.
Dr. Debbie Alford.
There you go. That
She's
we've done that in the
retired,
yeah.
but that's her
Mr.
job to go
It's Mr.
out.
Rivetta at the CAB, Continuing Adult
Okay,
Education.
so we can definitely continue that. That's something that we definitely started at the Southmost Library because of the location and the rooms. Also, the one that really is dear and near to my heart is the fine art enhancements. Why don't we? And again, it's a possibility. Why don't we check out guitars? Why don't we check out keyboards? And have an impromptu session. Just think outside the box. So we have a lot of artistic kids that can that can design art here at the Southmost Library. We just recently painted, but why can't we have locally inspired art? And so uh, everything like this is awesome, and I'm looking forward to actually coming to fruition with time. And I like the fact that the public is going to be involved, where we can just manage it and we can just put priorities. But again, very, very great ideas. And I know that you guys were involved with Leo, and I was tempted to go in there and noticing what you guys were doing, but I said, you know what, let me step away. But I like the passion that you guys have demonstrated, and this is a midpoint. I'm hopefully that you guys come up with more ideas at the end that you report to the board.
Thank you, Mr. Guerra. I, for one, and I'm going to let somebody else speak, but I, for one, want you to know that Lopez High School used to be a fine arts high school. I happen to be their principal. If you haven't noticed, I'm a thespian. So if you ever need help with fine arts, I'm here to support you 100%.
Yeah.
Does anyone
You
have
know,
any feedback on? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, and what I say about the fine arts, and my son he's very good with, you give him an instrument that he hasn't played, and within 2 hours, he knows how to play it. So I can understand that, so, but those are all good inputs. So thank you, Veronica, and thank you, Ms. Peña.
Thank you. Thank you. Is Lily there? Lily?
Lily?
I thought
I'm
she
here.
was. Oh, say something, Lily.
Yes, I'm here. Well, my main interest is the use of the space, as far as the Southwood Library goes, and I think that's been our main focus. Is there so much green space in the back, and that's where, that seat library, the community garden, bringing in other communities, stakeholders that are out there that can help make use of, that green space, whether it's maybe like the movies were very popular. Hey, can that be done outside? Things like that. So there's a lot of space that, that can definitely be of use to the community and that I think would bring people in.
Ms. Garcia, if I may add to that, in fact, Commissioner Galansky was integral part of, we actually applied for an ARP grant where it would involve seniors and do some gardening, build a pergola in the back area and a crosswalk in Manzano with some lighting. So that's in the process right now. We're hoping we can get it and maybe do like a mini walking trail within the perimeter of the inside a safe walking trail with obviously books and connection with the regular Southmost Trail, but definitely like a planning and gardening area with some shades and I think 20 by 20, I believe, if the grant is approved. So there's something going on, probably a collaboration with Parks Department to do some kind of activities for the kids, exercise. There's a big area. I think it's 8 acres that we have, so we have a
Very
large
nice.
area that we can use.
Might I add concerning that, as far as the seed library and the ABC garden, speaking with Veta Rosenbaum, who is the director of the Brownsville Wellness Coalition, she's interested in helping out in any way, and she's very familiar in what you had just mentioned.
Yeah, and I think the key here, you all have come up with some great ideas, but leveraging the community partnerships with organizations that are already doing the work, I think is important. So yes, Brownsville Wellness, having a presence in some way, maybe at the farmers market that's popular. Working with an organization like ARP that already has an infrastructure that they could bring. And then I think the other part that, that Ms. Pena and I think it was Rodriguez talked about, I'm sorry, maybe not. Veronica, your last name, I'm sorry. But talking about this mobilization of the community and getting the buy-in of the actual residents and participating, because once they start participating and they feel a sense of ownership about these kinds of things, it not only helps the library, but it also empowers individuals to act with their own agency on behalf of the community good. So this is wonderful. I hope that you all have gotten updates on the Storybook Trail, because we did get some updates last week that they're well underway with the planning of this and have a timeline for the build out. My only feedback with this list is, we would want you all to really keep brainstorming and then maybe prioritize so that we could address the things that you all feel maybe are the most important things to come out of these sessions and phase them in. So, you know, we have a whole calendar year that we can phase in different types of things, and some of them already fit within programming that the library does. The first library card, well, library card sign up month is coming soon. And so it would be great to do some augmented version of that first library card for people and attach that to programming that's already existing. So there's lots of things I think that kind of can piggyback onto existing programs and then add that community element to take it, as you all said, to the next level. So
this is where we were at, where we came up with this list with hopes of direction from the board, because we can keep on listing items, go back and continue brainstorming, but we're wanting a bit more direction as far as. But here I'm listening to you and like prioritize, and so these then the ones that we narrow down to a half a dozen or 5 will turn into our SMART goals. Is that correct?
yeah, I think so, because some of these could be recommendations for things that the library should do, which would, for example, the increased physical signage and marketing. That's something that the city could take as a recommendation to move forward with. Now, how that's dispersed among members of the community in other ways, there may be limitations on that we would have to consider. For example, the churches and things like that, you know, it would probably have to be individual members who took it upon themselves to then share this information. I'm not certain that the city could formally, you know, present in that way. Same with volunteering. You know, there may be a platform that the city has in place. There may be limitations about platforms for reasons relating to liability, you know, in terms of agents, or in terms of people doing work that employees get paid to do. So we can definitely help give you feedback in that way. We had kind of hoped that it would be this organic transformation of information, the way that you all are kind of crowdsourcing amongst yourselves, looking at what's already happening, and then, like you're saying, SMART goals. So what could we implement over a short-term period? And maybe that's the way to think about it. What could be implemented in the short term, and what might be more long-range goals? You know, I think any of our early college start and our local junior college and the university would jump on the chance to do an info session. I think it's just never been asked. So, you know, maybe
Shannon,
that's
what I would like, if I may, please excuse me, but I'd like to make sure that everyone knows that as we toss out ideas, and Cindy's right, we wanted to know what your feeling was, how, you know, how close we were. We have the ideas, and before we submit a final recommendation to you and to Mr. Guerra and to Leo and the committee, we want to make sure that we're on the right track, that we enhance, that we go to the next level, and that we have, like what Cindy said, the SMART goal, and that the SMART goal, hold on, somebody's knocking on my front door. Sorry. That we have a SMART goal, we have objectives, and that they're all measurable. And I'd like also to add that we want to use your form. I think you have an improvement plan that the library uses, and we'd like to use that form as well to make sure that we help you in all that we can and give you that final draft. I think I said what I wanted to say. I had to open the door. I'm so sorry.
Well, you spoke to exactly what I was getting at, which is, one, Leo is there to guide you, and he can report back to Mr. Guerra and Ms. Trevino to find out if there are any limitations, on any of these types of things that we have to consider from a study standpoint. Like I said, any kind of liability, any sort of interaction with the community in terms of who's representing the library. They can also then, he can work with the library staff to see if any of these do fit in with the existing programming and feed information back to you. So, you know, I'm anxious for other members of the board to weigh in here, but I think you could either think of it in terms of your top 5 priorities, or you could split it up. If there was nothing, if you didn't want to maybe look at it that way, you could address it in terms of, these are the short-term goals that we would like you to achieve within, you know, X amount of time. And these are the things that we would like you to consider for the next iteration of the task force, because this is the first task force and you all are sort of creating a roadmap. So I know it may seem a little challenging that you don't have a lot of guidelines right now, but that's intentional because we just wanted to cast the net and see what wonderful things you all came up with. And your decisions and your recommendations will drive what comes next.
We like that. We can work with that. But we want to give you a product or a document that's measurable, that will know, that you can monitor and say, is this really happening? And is this significant to the change that you want, your vision?
Did anyone else from the library board want to respond to any? I think the task force would like some feedback on some of these ideas or things that resonate with you all.
Is it possible for Leo then to send us a response to these ideas, and that way that gives you and the board members some time, if any, to make suggestions, and that too you can continue on with your agenda.
That's totally fine. You guys are the penultimate part of this agenda tonight. So after
okay, great. No, I said 2 hours. Wow.
Yeah, so we're happy to take the time. You know, like I said, some of these can be short-term recommendations. You know, the other thing would be what we talked about early on is taking some of these ideas maybe and then getting feedback from the community. So maybe there's some things, you know, the task force would like to move forward with, but then maybe there's other things you wanted to throw to the community and do maybe some type of a survey or something, a poll, to get their feedback on what the community priorities might be. So there's a lot of ways that we can help drive this, you know, your recommendations, and that may be part of your SMART goals, for example.
Somebody at our last meeting, Ms. Pensa, they said, you know, let's enhance a blog spot. You know, I know that you're already online, but then we could have more of a conversation or communication with the community. And we talked about the survey. Let's survey the community, especially the Southmost community. But we thought, you know, if that seemed like we got roadblocked everywhere. So what we would like to do is something as simple as mail out or give out to the schools, maybe at the beginning of the school year, and ask the kids, what do you want from a library? What would you like to see? All of these take, relationships. All of these take maybe PTAs from all the schools. Ask the PTA, because they're a separate entity from the school politics and government. To ask PTAs, what would you like to happen at the Southmost Library? And maybe we can meet the needs. But you're absolutely right. We want to align this with your goals and your objectives, and enhance and increase the plan of action.
I will say, if you guys do want feedback, I really loved the coding workshop idea. I do think that that is a huge factor in, I guess, attracting younger people to the library, especially because, you know, all of the reports that we've had in the past have been lots of renting out of, you know, movies or renting out audios, all that kind of stuff. Everything that has to do with, you know, technology or anything like that is a huge factor. Has basically, well, transformed, you know, all of our lives. So I think a coding workshop is really a great idea. The libraries and the idea for, you know, filling up the Southmost Library with more computers, maybe by working in partnership with BISD, with old computers. I mean, I think that's great if you can get that, but you know, everybody goes to use the computer to the library, not necessarily to read a book, but I think that's a really great idea. Also, I do agree with Shannon as far as, you know, maybe if you can have like 5 short-term goals, that would be great. You just, I guess maybe you're asking like, what do we do? What do we do from here? Something along the lines of, you know, laying out a practical way of implementing them would be really great. Just for example, the first library card idea, that's super great idea, super easy to implement. If you had like at least a couple of like maybe 3 to 5 small little projects that maybe nobody's doing that, or that could be easily implemented. I think doing that along with a big project also maybe that needs to be carried forward over time would be great. I would like to see that. I mean, little implemented things that you can implement really quickly would be welcome, as well as, you know, a bigger type of overarching project that would probably take more time to implement is definitely welcome. But I think little things enhance as well as big things. So I would definitely be I would definitely like to see that. I would definitely like to see something specific, like these are the 3 things we can do right now. We can implement it in the next 2 to 3 months, and this is how we're going to do it. And, you know, then one really big thing or 2 really big things or whatever is what I would like to see. But all these ideas are really great. And I really love that you guys have spent so much time and energy on it. So I really thank you so much for all the time that you've spent doing this. So it's really great. I really love it. And I think everything that you all have put forward so far is in the right direction, most definitely. I really like the fine arts DIY projects too. There's a lot of students who feel like they need to express themselves. Maybe they're not so much introverted. I always feel like a library is for introverts. But, you know, maybe you can attract those extroverts with all that, you know, other types of ways to express yourself other than reading or I mean, you know, introverted stuff also, I guess, like painting is one thing, but any, you know, expressing yourself through music, if there's some type of way to do that through the library, I think that would be great as well. So, so yeah, I mean, I think Miss Weiss said, what did Miss Weiss say? She said, a ranking scale would help to promote prioritize. Yeah, some people are just organize things in different ways. So I would just say pick one way to organize something and stick with it. There's so many different ways to organize stuff, but I guess I'm just going along with kind of what Shannon said, and that there's some things that are easier and quicker to implement, and there's some things that take time. And I would like to see a specific outline of what it is and exactly how you would implement it, if anything, if possible. I know y'all are just dedicating your time already, but I would just like to see an actual, like an outline or something like that. But these are great ideas. And I don't know if that's helps your question at all of needing feedback from us, but that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and I think that this ranking scale and what Juliana's saying about just be consistent, because you are not going to be able to accomplish all of it, but you can make recommendations. And so you can say that these are the things that you think are the top priorities for these reasons, whether it's wellness, whether it's technical skills, whether it's early education and literacy, whether it's fine arts. You can hit those broader things and then, talk about what is doable in a specific time frame. Short term, long term is probably the easiest way to do it. And then the scale would be something you guys would just document. This is what we use to assess the significance or importance of how this might impact the community. You can also talk with Mr. Guerra about, you're saying about maybe it's prohibitive with surveys, but you could use the library's platform potentially to have informal polls to gauge public interest in some of these things. Sometimes I know as a librarian, we have really, what we think are tremendous ideas, but then when we throw it to the community, they're like, why would we care about that? So it does help and since so many people, that is how they keep up with the library through social media, maybe using that platform for polling. It's very informal. It's anonymous. It's just simply we like this better. Those types of things could also help with your decision making. And then, like I said, Leo provided you insight into existing programming where these might already fit to augment things like library card sign up month. Does that help? Or does that just muddy the water?
I think, Ms. Pensa, that it helps tremendously. And you've given us the latitude, or you gave us the parameters that we're going to be working from. Because the times that we've met several times, we toss out a lot of ideas, but we want to make an impact. We want to make it to be very meaningful, and we want the impact to be felt. We don't want just get a volunteer hub and nothing come from it. We want you all to appreciate and say, this is a key pivotal decision that we have to make, or a plan that we have to make change. And so thank you for providing the parameter. We talked about getting a survey, the roadblocks, the software. And thank you for offering that. We're not silent sufferers. We're going to talk to Mr. Guerra, and we're going to talk to Leo and see how they can help us. But we also thought, because there's a lot of conversation in the room, well, I'm glad because people that use the library can give me some feedback, but I also want to hear from the person that doesn't use the library and why. And so, that maybe it's a multitude of ways, and maybe we can use the website from the library at the same time. Go to the PTAs, go to the church and say, the Southmost is very important to us. What do your parents think? How can we make it better? And so we're your advocates. We're your supporters. We're going to do what we want or what we think you want, and what we in our hearts feel that will be very pivotal to you and to the success of the library, as it is already. I mean, what a phenomenal organization. But that's all I have to say. Your command has been listened to, and you make a good point, and we know exactly, how far we're going to move. And the next committee is going to have such a great time because they're going to know what parameters to work by, and we've got that. Thank you so much for everything. And Cindy and Lily, if you're there, and Veronica, I think, all hands on deck. We're going to do what we need to do.
Yes.
And Ms. Peña, Leo and I are here to help you as far as the technology. We can create a survey in our website and Facebook and social media. So we're here to help you. But we want your point of view. We want to make sure that we don't guide you to what we want what you guys want, and I think that's why sometimes we stay away. But as far as helping you, the last thing I want is for you to feel that there's roadblocks. We're in this together, and we've done surveys already on our Facebook and our social media, so definitely we can help you. In fact, Leo is the one that takes care of all the postings, so anything you want to put out there, we can put it out there for you, and maybe that would answer you. Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Mr. Guerra. Yeah,
It
I
sounds
never
like
meant
some of
that
these
you were
things
a
are,
roadblock.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is good to hear. We can fly from here. Appreciate your help.
Yes, ma'am.
I was wanting to say too that some of these things, it's not like we have to reinvent the wheel. Just like you had just mentioned that there were surveys in place or there, and just doing research. Just I've come across where libraries that have the same demographics, maybe not the same population, but the same demographics in which we can tap into how they go about doing things as well. So most definitely, thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, and I just was typing in the chat while you were talking. You all are welcome to request any of the past reports on utilization of library services calendars, so you can see what the programming calendar might look like for a full year. Statistics on use, what parts of the collection get used. So you all are, we want you to feel that you are not just advocates and people who are just brainstorming, but you can feel free to ask us to provide you insights so that you can weigh your decision making as well. So it is helpful to know, well, what group of people are we not hitting, right? And if you were to create a program that directly went to those folks, then we would have our snapshot beforehand of what that statistic was and then measure it afterwards. So, not everything will be completed. We don't expect everything to be completed in your cycle as task force members. We're just looking to see what kinds of ideas you have that you feel would benefit the community so we can move forward with that. And the task force may be something that continues to exist. It may be something that, people continue to volunteer again for. We don't know. But we're just glad you've already met us more than halfway by volunteering your time, by sharing your insights. There's already at least one of these things that's already in the pipeline, which is the storybook trail. So I know sometimes it may feel like because you don't have something rock solid that it isn't yet successful, but from my standpoint, and I think from Mr. Guetta's standpoint, this is exactly what they were hoping for.
That is correct. Just the fact that you are volunteering, taking time. I know that you guys are talking with passion, and that's what it's all about. Is taking ownership about this, and again, we're here to help you, and I'm excited. I'm excited what you guys have to offer, but priority, and I think in the end, almost everything can be done. It's just a matter of prioritizing what's short term, what's long term, maybe a mix of both. But the most important thing is this is the first time we do it, and it's already exciting. Again, I just see the excitement in the task force, and it doesn't have to die after this. We can continue. What's next? So this is the beginning.
And also, you guys will be looking for new board members come January, correct?
That's correct.
So some of you may wish to then, put in your applications, if you haven't already, for this round to replace Ms. Lehman for the next round of appointments that'll happen for the next calendar year. So that's other ways that we can continue this kind of involvement.
Nicely said, Ms. Spencer.
Well, anything else before I call for an adjournment? Anyone else want to weigh in or give kudos or questions? All right. Well, thanks again, all of you. Thank you, Leo, for being the wonderful resource that I know that you are for the members of the task force. I'm so glad that you are heading that up. And thanks again to all of you for volunteering your time on behalf of the library and the patrons. So with that said, we don't have any other business. Would anyone like to motion to adjourn the meeting?
I would make motion to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you.
And I'll second it.
Excellent. Okay. Well, then this is the end. We are adjourned today at right on the dot at 6:30. Thank you all so much.
See you next month.